Boston Blue tackled the challenging issue of adolescent lads shooting up public spaces, and the outcome wasn't what I had anticipated. That was partly my own prejudice. I didn't anticipate a tale about trying to make sense of another 16-year-old turning a public space into a battle zone, but I was certain that an interracial family of police officers would take on a police-involved killing. Boston Blue Season 1 Episode 5 took a different approach, although the police-involved shooting will probably come up at some time. But one aspect of Blue Bloods that I really like was how it presented different perspectives from each character's point of view, allowing the viewer to form their own conclusions. In our very political society, that is all too uncommon. Characters are often used as mouthpieces for the author's viewpoints in television programs, leaving little room for the viewers to express their own opinions. For the most part, Boston Blue was successful in presenting the question of who is to blame for an adolescent gun spree in a fair manner. The Silvers couldn't agree on this point, with Sarah firmly believing that the parents were to blame for their son's choice to bring a pistol to the yogurt store. I'll talk about my own thoughts on this difficult topic in a moment. Boston Blue did a good job of presenting a variety of viewpoints. But since Sarah is so committed to the notion that parents couldn't possibly be unaware of a child's willingness to commit murder, it loses significant points. In my opinion, Danny ought to have spoken out more during this discussion. Frank often expressed thankfulness for the Sunday meals throughout the last few seasons of Blue Bloods, lamenting the seeming rarity of families dining together these days. In light of this context, Danny ought to have recognized the problem of parents who are unaware as an additional effect of the diminished family time in contemporary culture. The fact that he brought up Linda's wanting to forbid the boys from handling firearms, a reference to Blue Blood Season 4 Episode 2, was excellent. He should have had a lot to say about why it's conceivable that parents wouldn't realize their kid was murderous. However, he was brought up with the belief that family time should be sacred and that this value is fading. That would have strengthened Boston Blue's emphasis on family values and contributed to the discussion. Nevertheless, why did the parents' knowledge and ignorance get all the attention? Sarah spoke with Kyle's instructors, but she did not hold them accountable for Kyle's actions. Realistically, part of the issue is that instructors, particularly in big cities, are overburdened and lack the time to address each student's psychological requirements. Furthermore, according to Sarah's perspective, if the parents were careless, then so were the instructors, particularly the ones who saw that Kyle was experiencing mental health problems but did nothing more than let his parents know about it. Easy access to firearms is one element of the solution, but it's not the only one, and prosecuting parents for their children's decisions won't fix the problem. I didn't understand precisely what Sarah believed the parents ought to have done but didn't. I have several grievances with that story element. I'm tired of TV productions that equate mental illness with violence, when most persons with serious mental illness, especially those who have hallucinations and delusions, are not aggressive. One of Lena's statements was untrue. A risperidone prescription does not imply that a patient is aggressive or a threat to others. The drug helps the patient manage distressing hallucinations and delusions. Anytime. The notion is just as objectionable here as it was when Days of Our Lives utilized drugs to rehabilitate serial murderer Ben Weston. There is no such thing as a pill that prevents people from becoming violent. In any event, unless their kid required the medicine to be provided at school, the parents were under no need to inform anybody that their son was taking it. Their gun ownership was also not careless. They educated their kid about gun safety and secured their firearm. Laws regarding parental culpability for shootings often state that the parents provided the kid access to a gun, not that they merely had one while living with the child. However, there is no law that prohibits you from owning a pistol if your adolescent is on antipsychotic medication. If there had been a mention of Jamie's constant concern that Sean's great-grandfather was experiencing cognitive deterioration, which simply insulted Henry, I would have enjoyed it. The callback would have been fantastic. The art theft/murder tale was ridiculous, but the other stories piqued my curiosity and were well-meaning. Sean and Jonah moving in together sounds like a terrible comedy concept, but I appreciated that Danny and Sean battled to find a proper balance in their relationship.